seen around Microsoft Teams. I mean, I literally just got off of a presentation this morning to a company of 70,000 that are making the move to Microsoft Teams. We're helping to train sort of their environment across sort of different regions, and they're loving it, right? And so a lot of the things I'm going to show you today are some of the things that we've been showing them just from a user adoption standpoint. And so one of the things we're going to get into is what is Teams. We're going to show you sort of getting into how we can use it. I am not going to spend much time in PowerPoint. We're going to get right to the meat of the matter. But I do want to just sort of level set. So as we kind of get a sense for what the tool is, and so I'm going to spend 5 quick minutes here in Teams, and then we're going to get right into the demo, get right into the good stuff. The terms you're going to hear me use is hub, right? I love that concept of hub for teamwork. Us here at Cyclotron, we manage a lot of projects. We have clients. We have projects inside of those clients. And so one of the things you see a lot is how do we kind of put all that information in one place? You know, in the past, we were creating SharePoint sites, and then we're still having to use email as a big tool to kind of go back and forth as we work through it. And so now we're using Teams. Teams is our first choice in how we collaborate with our clients, right? Before we had our little SharePoint sites that we're working with. Right now we're moving completely to Teams as that hub for all the teamwork that we have and as we work with our group. That combined with a lot of the different integrations really help us to focus sort of the work that we're doing. They help us to really sort of say, hey, let's just work on these things for this project, for this group. And then mirroring that with the conversations is also very key as well. One of the things you see is that this is an old slide, this is a new slide, right? So it's already jumped so quickly that within the first year, Teams has been around for just a little bit over a year now, a year and a couple of months. And so you've seen such growth. We have Microsoft has 200,000 organizations who are already using this tool, and they're loving it. And you know, I haven't seen such excitement around a tool in SharePoint, since SharePoint came around early on, but this is even better from a user experience standpoint. One of the things that you're going to see here is that within the Office 365 ecosystem, there's a lot of different tools. And so one of the challenges we have is what to use when, right? And so what I like about the next couple of slides that we're going to show you are just sort of saying, hey, here's kind of the way you can use these different tools and integrate the tools together. One of the things that I'm going to tell you, and it's really a personal thing, is we're really trying to break our team, and that's everyone here at Cyclotron, our clients, out of this email silo, right? So how can we get out of that email silo and start to bring all of these concepts into Teams? This slide has a lot on it, but what I'm showing you here are sort of the different roles, the different ways that you can use Teams, just trying to give you ideas here. And we're going to walk through this together. We're going to show you sort of the different ways that Teams has really caught on for a lot of our clients. This is a fun slide, right? So this slide right here, really what we're doing is we're just saying that Teams really promotes sharing, right? And so you see that a lot more with some of the newer generation coming through and kind of saying, hey, we want to share a lot of the content. We don't need to email back and forth. We don't need to have these one-on-one conversations. We can share this information as a group, right? And so you're seeing a lot of millennials coming in. You're seeing a lot of younger people coming in who are just used to sharing. Teams helps promote that as we kind of work through that. This is a technical slide. Basically what it's saying is that sort of that what to use when again as we're kind of working through things, and it shows you sort of the different connectors and all the different tools that are connecting Teams together, right? And how we can use the different tools. Today we're going to be really focused on Teams and sort of how that can help you and your environment as you're going through here. And once again, this sort of the last slide that I wanted to hit on before we get into the demo is this is kind of showing you how you might use the different tools as you're kind of working through your example. So let's skip some of the slides. Let's go into the good stuff here. So one of the things I want to show you is that Teams works throughout your environment in sort of these different ways, right? So here we have the Cyclotron homepage, right? And I can be in different browsers as we're kind of working through here. And then within your environment, one of the things that you're going to see is all the different tools and applications that are available to you. Now, because we have a wide audience on the call today, is that you might not see the same things I see on the left-hand side here. And the reason for that is how you're licensed for the tools within your environment. So at Cyclotron, we're licensed for all the different tools. All the tools are activated. So as I click on the tools here, you're going to see different tools that are available to me. And we're going to show you how to integrate some of those tools inside of Teams. Right? So as I come in through here and I look through my Teams tab, right, I can click on Teams, and then it brings up my Teams web workspace. Now within Teams, one of the things I can see here, as I'm working with different clients, as I'm working with different companies here, I can sort of see the things that I'm working with. These are my teams on the left-hand side here, right? I can organize my teams by making teams favorites. You'll see here there's a lot of other teams that I'm working with that I can close out, close in. But these are the clients that are taking most of my time right now that I'm working with, that we're kind of going back and forth with. The teams, I have channels. And so this is my web environment, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to more of our demo environment that we've been kind of demoing lately. And I'm going to show you the desktop. So that was web, and this is desktop. You're going to see different teams over here. So this is the client that we've been working with, doing a lot of demos around Teams, around a lot of the different integrations. Here you see my team. I can have a public team or a private team. Right? I have options for each of my teams as I work with them. Right? So as I look at this, this is a collaboration week around a bunch of presentations that we've been doing. Right? Here's my team. I can click on my options within my team here. I can manage that team. One of the things that you can do here is I can have a public team versus a private team. What are my differences? What are my differences between a public team and a private team? So the public team is a team that I can have anybody within my organization be able to see. So anybody with my corporate Cyclotron email account, with your corporate email account, they can come into a public team and they can join that team. One quick thing to note, you can only have 2,500 members as part of a team. So the client we're working with now, as they're rolling out Teams and Yammer, they're saying, when do I use Yammer versus Teams? We're going to use Yammer when you're going to have more than 2,500 and you need to get a message out to. You're going to use Yammer in an environment where it's a little less about a single goal. It's more about maybe collecting information. Teams is going to be about a project. It's going to be about a project that you're working on that you want to kind of collaborate with your team on and have a goal around. I can change members of my teams. I can make them owners or members, but I can also add guests. One of the roadblocks for Cyclotron was we work with clients. Our clients are outside of our network. So in the early first parts of Teams, it really wasn't helpful to us because we could not add clients into our environment. Now we can, right? So with this guest account, we can add guests as part of our environment. And then we can limit sort of the role that a guest might have, right? So as I come into my team settings, I come in here, I can set my member permissions. Members are people who are part of your organization. I'm either an owner or a member if I'm part of your organization. As I come in through here, these are people outside of your organization, right? So I can come in through here as a member, or I mean as a guest, and have limited capabilities to be able to see files and sort of work with content out of there. Now within my other settings here, I can have team pictures. I can do things around mentions, and we can have it to do some fun stuff as well. And I'll show you some comments and some fun stuff on how you can sort of have those conversations as you're working with people. So the other thing is I have channels, right? Let's step back just a little bit here, right? So I have teams. Teams have channels. Channels have tabs. Right? So one of the things we just talked about with another client is we've got a bunch of channels that we're working with. We're doing some training around teams, right? And so one of the things I can do as I manage that team and I manage my channels, I can come in through here and I can manage my channels. I can make certain channels favorites. If a channel is a favorite, it appears up at the top. If not a favorite, it's going to appear under the more here. With my channels, they are organized alphabetically grouped by favorites and non-favorites. My teams, the ones that I want favorited are bubble to the top, but I can drag and drop my teams to organize them and move them up and down as well. To organize my teams. So that's a great way to organize your teams. And then as I come in through here, and I can auto favorite teams here too. Everything that we're showing you is part of Office 365, right? So what does that mean? That means that everything is in the cloud. That means that the presentation I gave a week ago is different than the presentation I am giving today, right? So that you saw that auto favorite capability within the teams. That is something that came about just a week, 2 weeks ago as we're working through there. So the other thing we want to show here is that as I create a team, I have these different tabs across the top, right? These are different integrations that I can bring to the table, right? Now, what we've done at this client is we've able to limit these integrations for this client. They don't want to show everything for what they're doing. Now, what you have capable to you out of the box without limitations is as I come in through here and I look at my team's overview here, I click on the plus, I'm going to see a lot more tabs, right? I'm going to see a lot more integrations throughout here. There are over 200 different integrations today as you work through here. I'm starting to see some questions come through, and we love it, right? So one of the things you're going to see here is for the authentication, as people come in through here, they can use multi-factor authentication. So we have a client today that has hooked up multi-factor authentication for the guest to be able to come in here, and when they log in, I get a text message as that second factor that goes through. Some of the tabs that I really love as we do integrations are my favorite tool of all time is video supported. Yes. OneNote is my favorite tool in here. Documents are going to be supported. You're going to see PowerPoint, Word, Excel. A lot of you might be using other tools to manage your projects, tools such as Jira, other tracking tools. Maybe Smartsheet is something that you're using. We can integrate those tabs here across the top. Salesforce is a nice integration that you can have in here. There's a lot of ways that we can make this the hub for what you are doing. That I want to talk about very briefly today too is going to be Planner. One of the things that at Cyclotron that we have been challenged with beyond belief is how do I manage tasks across projects, right? We have tried Excel, we've tried Project Online, we've tried all these different tools. The tool that is finally starting to catch hold here at Cyclotron is Microsoft Planner, right? It's been a tool that's been working really, really well for us, and I'll show you that as one of the integrations that we discussed today too. Joseph, I'm going to need you to do me a favor here. You're going to need you to keep track of some of those questions as we go through. I'm going to have to table some of them as we get to the end. I want to make sure we cover everything, and then I'll go back and take a look at some of those questions. So please keep the questions coming, but I'm going to have to keep moving forward here so we can capture everything. Power BI is another integration that I really like, right? So we're doing some dashboard tools, and we're having some Power BI integrations in here too, right? One of the things you're seeing here is I'm able to integrate some of my Yammer feed. So my Yammer feed is coming into my conversations as we work with them too. So let's go back in and let's take a look at my conversations that I'm having. The conversation, something that's really important here. So I'm coming down here and I'm starting a new conversation. What I want you to get out of this, if you get just one thing out of this presentation today, I want you to think about taking your conversations of email and bringing them to Teams, right? One of the reasons that Slack was such a powerful tool is it figured that out early, that people wanted to get rid of email as that primary form of communication. And so here, I can come in and I can start to talk to members of our team here, and I can say, okay, Ansberg, how are you? Right? And then he's going to get an alert on his side that's going to pop up and say, hey, how are you doing? Right? He's going to then be able to respond to that email. And then as we work together as a team, one of the things we can do here is we can start to kind of like messages, right? I laugh sometimes because even at Cyclotron, I still see emails going back and forth saying, hey, how's your going? Things are going well. Thank you. You're welcome. And a lot of those conversations can be had with, hey, a thumbs up, acknowledging that I got the message. Let's say Bob had made some changes to the deck about PSTN calling that we're doing today. I want to save this message, so I need to get back and talk about that PSTN calling. I'm going to click on my little save here. I see how this come up here and it says saved up here through this. I can now come in through here and I can see every place where it's saved. I can click on saved and it's going to take me to any of my saved messages here on the left-hand side. Right, that's great as I work through here. Now, the other thing you're going to see here is that Flex is one of the clients that we've been working with. So now, as I am being added as a guest account on other people's teams, I can easily switch my profile from my Cyclotron profile to my Flex guest profile. Right, and then as I'm working through my Flex guest profile, now Flex is giving me both a guest account and an actual Flex account. Right, so as I'm working with this client, I can play different roles, and as we're doing some of the testing. This is something I recommend as you start to open up your team's environments to guests. So here's the same collab week that we saw before. Now I want to favorite my document collaboration because that's where I want to do some of my conversations here. Right? I'm going to come in through here, document collaboration, and as a visitor, I'm going to @ my Malcolm account, my Flex account. I'm going to say, here, how alerts work. Right? And so now, one of the things I have is I've got my mobile device, and that's logged into my team's environment. And so what's nice is I showed you the desktop, and here at the bottom, here's the mobile. So as I come into my team's environment, I'm able to see my different teams, my different channels. And one of the things I love about this tool is that it works the same on my mobile device as it does on my desktop, as it does in my web browser, right? So everything is sort of working together as we're kind of going through these different pieces. And then I see that my other ego sent me a message through document collaboration. There's an alert. I see the little @ sign for my alert. And there's my alter ego through here, right? Oops, let me click back. I want to click on this. I want to like it in my mobile device, right? I go back to I see that little alert come up in the right here. I'm getting alerts as these messages are coming through. Why are these notifications so important? These notifications are so important because you want to trust the system that you're using, right? So I want to be able to trust the system that I'm using. I can see the alerts come up. I want to make sure that I'm not missing messages. You know, as we work with some of the clients, and I see some familiar names on this training here, we're seeing better communication. We're seeing better ways that we can sort of work with people. And let's say I go on, like I've been doing trainings for the last 2 days. What's great is that my development team's coming in and they're seeing people alerting me. They're able to respond to messages where I maybe haven't responded in time, right? So as we're coming through here, other people are able to contribute to a conversation that you might have siloed, right? So initially you might have said, hey, this is a one-on-one conversation. And I'm like, no, I want other feedback, but I might just have alerted certain people within there. As I reply to these questions, my conversations are going to stay in line, right? So if I want to have a conversation about something that was going on up here earlier, I can reply to some of the team members here and say, hey, this conversation stays in line. And then the other thing I can do within my conversations, let's say I wanted to have a little bit more of information. I'm going to click this little format button here, and it's going to allow me to do a few more things within my conversations, right? As I format them here, I want to escape out of this. I want to show you sort of, I can create a status update. So one of the things that we're doing here is through here, and we're providing our clients with a quick status update. Status update on task. We use this for a project that we just finished up in December. And we're coming through and we're saying, okay, hey, just give me a quick status update, a daily status update as we're managing this project in an agile approach, right? So I'm saying, hey, finished point 1. I was able to do bold. I was able to do italics. I was able to do underline as we're coming through here, right? By the way, if you're not on mute, just make sure that you guys mute your mics for us. We're not auto-muting people out of the gate today. So there's your bold, there's your italics. Oops, I mixed it up. There's my bold, there's my italics, there's my underline. We're able to keep it fun, right? We're able to keep the presentation fun. We're able to say, hey, let me use an emoticon in here as some of the things that we're doing. Hey, let me use the GIFs. You know, I want to say, I haven't had any coffee yet. Before we give me a status update, let me get me some coffee, right? Now, we want to keep things professional, right? So let's say that you're seeing things around these emoticons or these things and you don't want them that. You can be a stick in the mud. You can take the ability to do these things out of there. But one of the things I want to note here that is important is that as a team owner, I can delete any messages from anyone else that are in there. I can serve as a moderator within my conversations. If something that was said that was inappropriate, if something that was said that I didn't want to get out there, I can remove it from the conversation. I can do it from my mobile, my web, or my desktop device. By default, the security settings state that as a member, I can delete my own messages. I can change that permission to allow members to delete other messages. I don't recommend it. I like keeping the owners as sort of that moderator. That's part of the governance that we have around it. How do you want your owners to work? How do you want your members to work? I can also make it so guests can delete their comments only, right? Guests can't delete other people's comments as we're working through here, other people's conversations. So think about, instead of having that conversation in email first, think about having it here in the conversations. I love my boss, right? Amber's great. He loves email, right? He loves email, and I keep dragging him tooth and nail into Teams. How do I do that? I do it in a couple ways. Right? So one of the ways is I grab a link to the team. So a lot of times I'll get an email about what's going on. I'll say, hey, instead of sending me attachment, can you post that within the team site? I'm going to then send him a link to the team, right? He still might email me. The email still might be going back and forth. You know what? I'm like, okay, fine. Let him keep emailing me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an email address to the channel, right? Remember, think about channels as topics, right? So that channel is going to be a topic that we're going to work with. I'm going to get an email. I'm going to get an email for that topic, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to now CC any emails that are going back and forth with that email channel, then going to appear within my conversations as we go through here. Right? So that's one of the things that we're going to have as we go through. I can still keep my conversations there. Even if I can't yank that person out of email, we're going to work on it slowly but surely. That's how we start to get that user adoption up. Right? That's how we start to get those executives. We get those people who don't want to get into Teams right away. We get them slowly into that. Then they start to see the benefits of it. Right? There's sort of a top-down approach within Teams that happens. Whoever owns that team, the group owner, the project manager, the department lead, they have to be the ones saying, hey, get that conversation out of email, bring it into the team site. So another powerful feature within Teams is getting rid of those attachments, right? So one of the things we want to do is we want to stop attaching files, right? We want to moderate and work with files from a single location. And one of the ways that we can do that is by using Teams for that. One of the things that in this conversation around why is Teams such a good tool, one of the things we're doing is we're saying, hey, comparing it versus Slack. Let's say I want to start a conversation of Slack versus Teams. I have a data sheet here. I'm going to copy and move that data sheet into my team conversation, right? I'm going to be able to upload my file here. And as I upload that file, because I just did this demo, it's going to say, hey, Malcolm, you've already uploaded this file. Do we need to re-upload it? So it's checking the file. It's checking my versions. I've got versioning on the back end here. So I've got versioning working. Oh, actually, I moved it. I moved it from our SharePoint environment to another environment. So it uploaded the file for me. And then where does that file go? Where does that file magically head to? It goes into this Files tab. Okay, great. Where is that Files tab? Teams sits on top of SharePoint, right? So Teams sits on top of SharePoint. SharePoint is the file repository for all of the teams that you're doing, for all the work that you're doing, sit there, right? So that Slack data sheet, this demo document that we're working with, the actual presentation that we've been giving to the client all sits here, right? And so you're going to see all of those features working right through here. And then what I can do here is I have certain options. SharePoint, within Teams, within these tools, always look for those three little ellipses. It's going to give me more options on how I can work with this document. Right? I can edit the document in Teams. It's going to then use PowerPoint Online as the editor, but then I'm going to be able to have conversations around that document. And I'll show you that in just a second. I'm going to be able to use PowerPoint Online. say you're not at your laptop, let's say you're on somebody else's machine, let's say you're at a kiosk, let's say you're traveling remotely, PowerPoint Online will work with all modern browsers. I can then modify the documentation from there. I can easily move it from one folder to the next, from one team to the next, all by clicking my little move here. I can get a link to that document. So if somebody sends you, instead of sending an attachment, I send my boss a link to that document. I send the sales group a link to proposals that we're working on. But let's say in this example, is a good one, is that we're really focusing on some of these presentations, right? So I want to make this a tab. Once I make this a tab, it then pops up here. So I've made this document collaboration one a tab. I see that up here, right? And then as it becomes a tab, I now can have a conversation on that document right here on the right-hand side, right? So I can say, hey, you know, I'm working with Barack from another client, and I can say, hey, please review slide 5 and let 5 and 7, and let me know what you think. He'll get an alert on his side if I alerted him on his tool, and that would say, hey, let him know. He would then be able to review that and then give me some feedback, going through some commenting here. Couple things to note. SharePoint is saving my versions on the back end. We want you to learn to trust this tool. We want you to learn to trust that you don't need to save V1, V3, V4. We want you to stop sending those attachments, right? I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. One version of the truth, right? We want one version of the truth that we can work with. And so I have lots of options here as I work with it. And then as I work with these documents in the different tools, the other thing that we can do here is I can have multiple people work on documents at the same time. So let's say I come into this Word document that we've been working with. This has been that this Word document that multiple people have been working on at the same time within the environment, right? And what you generally would see, and I don't have multiple people in here now, but you'll see multiple initials come up in through here, and we can see sort of different highlights for how people are editing and what they're doing within the document. Done proposals where I've had 5, 10, 5, 6, 7 people working on a document at the same time. A little flag will come up to show where people are making their edits. One of the things I can do in Word is I can track my changes and show comments. So I can be having conversations inside of the document, or we saw before, I can be having conversations to the right of the document within the Teams environment. Document collaboration and tracking, I could spend 2-3 hours just on that alone, right? How we can work on versions, how we can work on the documents, and how I can see the documents. Now, if you're an environment that is still using Box and you're trying to transition from SharePoint to Box, Microsoft really works well with some of these outer tools. If you have Box as a cloud storage option, you can come in through here. I can add Box as an option, and then I can see documents that I have shared from Box. If you're using another tool, if you're using another way to manage that, understand that you have to manage security in Box. You have to manage security in these additional integrations separately. Microsoft plays well with Microsoft, right? So as we work through that, you'll see that as we're working through there. So we talked about some of the different integrations. Let me show you some of the different integrations and how we've been working with them, how they've really been helping us collaborate with our clients, with different team members, with different projects. Right. So one of the things you see here is we have the different files tabs across the top. I'm going to go into this project management section that we've been working with here, and you can see some of the things that we've been doing. Right. The integrations that I have is the ability to integrate OneNote. Right. So OneNote is a tool that I use religiously. Anybody who's been on this call, who's known me, who's worked with me, knows that all the files, all the things that we're doing are stored within these OneNote notebooks. Right. So one of the things I can do is I can say, hey, I've already got a notebook for this project, for the things that we've been working on here. So I can come in through here. I can take a look at the notebook that we've been working with, and I can say, hey, let me use this notebook, and then let me work with this notebook, right? So if I browse my notebooks, I can click Save, and it will now create a tab to that notebook, and it's going to open up OneNote Online. The notes that I've been working on here, I'm going to be working on this. This is an open notebook, so I haven't been using, this is the wrong one. But the other notebooks I have will link to this, and you can see notes and share notes, and then those same notes will appear in that desktop version here, right? So the client that we've been working on here with the notes, project management pieces have all been stored through here and some of the training materials. And so we've been linking the exact training materials that we've been doing for them and linking them here within OneNote. And then those OneNote tabs will come up. I'll find you one that shows it a little bit better here than this one. So the other thing that I like a lot too is the integration with Planner. So one of the things that you can do in here is I can add a plan, and I can see all of the tasks for that plan, for this presentation that we've been giving, right? So how did I do that? I come in through here, I click on Add, and I'm going to click Planner, right? When I create a new Microsoft team, it creates a new Office 365 group. When I create a new Microsoft plan, it creates a new Office 365 group, right? Now, instead of having all of this group proliferation, as I create these plans, as I create these groups, I can link to groups that already exist. I can use existing plans, right? This is one of the things that was a little frustrating early on in the life of Teams and Planner and some of these tools, because what was happening is you were seeing all this proliferation around all these different groups and around all these different plans. And another thing that just happened with Planner is that Planner now aggregates plans that are created within these tabs across the Planner app, and I'll show you that in just a minute as well. So we've got a plan that's already out there, one that we've been using. And so here I have my tasks. I can have a conversation on the entire plan itself. With any of these tabs that you're seeing, I hide or show my conversations. Say I need a little bit more real estate, I can expand my tabs here as well. So there's going to give me a little bit more real estate across my tabs too. So with the Planner application, it's really easy to kind of come in here, add plans, review deck, right? I quickly added that task, and now maybe I want to assign some people to it. I can come in through here, I can assign some people to that task. I'm going to take this one on. Right, so there's my guest account, there's my other account. One of the things I want you to know right away is you see how it says guest account, Teams, Microsoft, Planner, it's saying I want you to be real specific that this is going outside of your organization. So I'm trying to show you that right here and that it's going outside of your organization. Within Planner, one of the things I like is we can have these subtasks. So I can call it task 1, right? I can have task 2. Oops, let me learn how to type. I can have task 2, task 3. Unless I want to show that information on the card here, I can show that on the card. A lot of times what I will do is I will attach links to OneNote and say, hey, here's the details of the issue that we're running into. Here's more information about what I want you to work on. I can add the description here for what I'm looking for, a long description, right? Couple new things within the Planner application that are integrated within Teams is I have these labels here that I can use to organize my content. But I can also say, hey, let's take a look at my calendar and my schedule. All right, so let me get rid of that conversation. Let me get a little bit more real estate here. I can look at my schedule for all of my tasks, right? And so here's my schedule. I can see sort of a week view, a month view. And now let's say that task I just created, I didn't put any due dates on it. All right, let me move this over here. Put this review PowerPoint deck on the 11th. Oops, I don't have much time on this one. Oops, let me highlight this. I'm going to have to work over Saturday to get this one done. So there's my task. I just assigned a date to it. I want to move my sample task over here to 17th and 18th. I can highlight. I can move things around. Microsoft has made it really easy. I'm working inside of my team, inside of my plan, to be able to see this information. I come in here and I can click on charts. And now I can see in a nutshell how I'm working with all this content, how I'm viewing all of this content, right? And what's nice about this, it's all in one place. I keep using that term hub, right? So as I'm working on a project as a team, I want my planner stuff to come up to the top. Maybe I want my Power BI dashboard to come up top, and maybe I want my notes. Maybe those are the key things I need as I'm working on my project, as we're working on this as a team to kind of get everything to work together. All right, let me get my real estate back. Let me get my channels back here. I can see different information through here. The Wiki tab is available to you How do I use the wiki tab? I use it for really static content, right? Maybe good reference content. So if I'm putting a presentation together about Teams, I might use this to link to some of the Microsoft references in Teams that we need, right? Something that I want to be static, something that I refer to often. Right now I've been using it a lot of times for links, a lot of times for just sort of references. I like to use OneNote as more of the dynamic note-taking capabilities, and I use documents such as PowerPoint and Excel for more formal ways to present some of the things that we've been working on, right? There's so many ways to use these tools, so I want to make sure that you get a sense for some of that. Real quickly, I want to make sure that I'm covering some of these things in the upper left here as well. We talked about some of the integrations. One other integration that I do want to mention before I go back to the activity is within here, one of the things that you see that we did, let me bring up Firefox, that's going to be the Cyclotron account. One of the things that we did here within here, let me switch back over to my profile, right? I'm switching from my guest profile back to my Cyclotron profile. I love Stream. I love Microsoft Stream. That's the new video tool to manage videos, right? So, so our boss, Amber, Joseph, as he's working on it, he's like, hey, do you have any ways I can reference this? I want to get up to speed on it before you give the overview. I've already given this presentation, right? I gave it for our Cyclotron team internally. We recorded the video. We then posted the video. The video is now in Stream. It's integrated right into my Teams app. And so people who missed the presentation, they can come in here. They can see the PowerPoint deck. They can see the Stream video that we're working with. I can move forward inside of the Stream. And Stream also does some things around transcribing the preferences. I can see it in that application as well. Not the best picture of me right there. And so, but there's my video. It's all integrated, different tabs, right? So the next time somebody has to give this presentation, they can be like, hey, Malcolm, where's the reference materials? Here's the deck that we're working on. Here's the team's presentation. Here's the video that we've been working on for it. Here's the notebook, right? So as I'm taking notes on the things that we're doing around the teams, around the presentation, here's all the notes that I've given to them as we're working with it, right? That's great ways we're trying to practice what we preach. Even as we do these presentations, I'm saying, hey, how can I get members up to speed to give this presentation and work on the presentation? I give access to a notebook. So this is what I was trying to show you before. Once I give access to a notebook within that team site, I can see all the information for that notebook, right? I have a personal notebook. I have multiple client notebooks. But here I can see everything within my PMO notebook for that. So it's all going to come right within here. All right, so a lot of questions coming through. I want to get through just a few more things, and then we'll jump into questions. And I can stay, 10, 15 minutes after as well to go through these questions. And so if you want to stick around, please feel free. Within the activity tab here, this is really great to me to be able to see sort of the different activity that people have been working with. I've got a Yammer feed integrated. I've got the team's overview integrated. Here's what I'm seeing is my activity. And so any file activity that I've been working with here, here's my feed. Here's some of the information around the things that I've been working with. There's my activity. I can see the things that I've been doing. I can look up other people and see the activity that they've been doing as well. There's a direct chat component. So one of the things that you're going to see here is that as we chat with different people within the organization here, I can do a direct chat here. What to use when. We're a big Skype client, so my first choice is Skype. But the nice thing here is as I add guests to our projects, I can come in through here and use that chat conversation. I can also use the calendaring. And so now I can start to have real meetings here around Skype, around Teams, and integrating that right within sort of this tool. The Skype Teams integration is coming fast and furious, right? So in 3 months from now, we won't be doing Skype meetings anymore. Cyclotron will be presenting this presentation with Teams, with video, with sort of that integration between all of these different tools, right? I'm able to see my calendar through here. I'm able to do some of my Skype connecting through here as well. I'm able to have meetings right within here too. So there's a lot of different things I can do through here. Within the files, I'm able to see links to my Teams files. I'm able to see links to my OneDrive files. I'm able to have a lot of information right here, all in one place. how do I start my day? When I start my day, I open up Teams, I open up OneNote. Those are the first two tools I open up to do my job, right, within the different pieces. So we've covered sort of some of the integrations. Oh, search. Search is another big one that I want to walk you through because search has huge strides even in the last 3 months. I have sort of a love-hate relationship with how fast and furious some of these things are coming. The presentation I gave 7 days ago has already been changed from the presentation I'm giving you today. That's because Office 365 is great and how fast it gets you some of these tools. Office 365 can be very frustrating as an IT admin because of how fast it gives you some of these tools, right? So my job is to stay on top of some of these changes, when they're coming, how they're coming. One of the number one questions we get all the time, one of the number one requests about these teams and about these channels is, I'm a member of this top level team. I am a member of every single channel underneath it. I have the same rights at the team level as I have at the channel level. Right now, one of the number one requests in Microsoft user voice around Teams is the ability to have private channels. Today, that power does not exist. So please remember, as you have a team, you create the channels. Anyone who has access, including your guests, they have access to the channels underneath it. How at Cyclotron have we gotten around it? Generally, when we create a new client, I have an Acme client. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll create 2 team sites. I'll create one team site where we share 90% of our information, and that'll be teams, sort of shared with the guest accounts. And as I click on a team, one of the things you can see right out of the gate, when I see my team preferences, I can see that this team has guests, right? So right out of the gate, I'm having visuals that are showing me that my team has guests. Managing my team, I can see that my team has guests as we're going through here. So it's something always important to remember. But going back to search again, when I do search, one of the things I can say is, okay, hey, I want to search for a person. I've been working with Barack over at Flex, and I can see, okay, hey, I typed on his name. I don't want to type on his name right here. I can type Barack. I'm going to see all the messages that him and I have had going back and forth. Really powerful filter capabilities. I really like the ability of how I can go in and filter by subject, date, team, channel. And honestly, I think Microsoft has done a better job in the filter capabilities here than they've done in SharePoint, than they've done in Outlook. Right? They've heard a lot of feedback on some of these things, and it's really easy to sort of find the things I'm looking for. Within Teams, I'm really looking at 3 main types of categories: messages, people, and files. Right? So I can see where he is as a person. I can then see his profile. I'm seeing the invitation, the conversation that we've been working on together. I see the files that he's worked on. Now, I want to look for the PowerPoint deck that I've been working on around Teams collaboration. Right, so I'm going to type Teams collaboration. Right, as I'm looking for files here. I know that it was a PowerPoint deck that we've been working on. Right, I'm going to come in through here. I'm going to click Files. I'm going to click PowerPoint. I'm going to click Filter. And then I'm going to see here all of the PowerPoint files that we've been working on. Right, and so here I can see the different files. Here's my filter, and I can select that file, and it'll take me right to it. Another thing that I really like here is coming here, I can click Slash at the top of my team, and this gives me some of the most used features inside of Teams. I can change my status. I can check the recent files that I've been working on. Right, so there's that same collaboration slide deck that I've been working on. All my recent files here, 1 hour ago, 5/1, 5/1, 4/30. So showing all my recent that I've been working on. I'm going to click Backspace, and then I'm going to click again. Maybe I want to see the keyboard shortcuts. Maybe I want to see where I've been mentioned. I can come in through here. I can click my keyboard shortcuts. There they are. As I have been using Teams for all these presentations, for all this work that I've been doing, I'm learning some of the shortcuts, and it's helping, right? Boom, boom, boom. I'm starting to move around really quickly inside of the tool. The more you use it, I promise you, the more you're going to like it. It's just that the user interface is, in my opinion, the strongest that they've built. And I think part of that comes from the competition that they've had from tools like Slack, right? They saw sort of how powerful and how popular a tool like Slack had become because we were able to share conversations. We were able to have a more collaborative environment. They've taken some of the best things from Slack and augmented them, right? They've taken the ways that you can integrate some of these tools, some of the things that we've been working with throughout. One last thing I want to show you, and then we're going to get into questions, is some of the notifications here. So I can come in through here, and I can click on this, and I can see my settings here. And within my settings, I want to just show you the notifications. Notifications are a key method in how we can start to make the transition from having a tool like Outlook be our primary collaboration tool and making that Teams. How do I trust the system? How do I trust that what I'm doing is the right way to do it? I can come in through here, and I can see my notifications. And then I'm able to have my mentions, my messages, my other. I get alerts. One of the things that I've seen is that we're working with 5 or 6 different Teams environments. So I'm having to log into 5 or 6 different Teams accounts. And if there's a client that's gone quiet a little bit, I'm getting an email saying, "Hey, Malcolm, there's some notifications coming to you from Teams. You haven't responded. You haven't been on for a day." Boom! I can tell I'm getting app mentioned. Reminds me to go to my Teams site. I go there. It's helping me make that transition. It's helping me make that transition into Teams, helping me make sure that I'm not missing messages, helping me trust the system, trust the process, sort of work with it. My recommendation, download the mobile application. One of the things you're going to see here in my environment is I'm really kind of embracing that mobile ecosystem. iPhone, Android, iOS, iPad works really, really well. Oops, that was an accident. So let me come back here again. Look at my tools, right? So you see here, Teams, Sway is a tool we're using to start present. Office Lens and OneNote play a big role in what we're doing in capturing information. Let's say I want to add a task. I mean, what was great, me and Vamsi were working on the project yesterday. We're managing it in Teams. We're taking pictures of whiteboard using OneNote and Teams and Planner, and we're seeing in one shot. Amber asked us, "Hey, how's it going on the project?" He was able to jump right in there and take a look at it. A question we had earlier was about Visio. We were able to come in and see all that information within Visio as well. You guys, this has been fast and it's been furious. One thing, let me quickly run through this PowerPoint deck. I'm not going to talk to all of these slides. I just want to see if I missed anything here. There's a very complex foundation around Teams. We can work with you as a client and get you and talk to you about some of the things technically that are working with it here, and we can walk you through sort of how some of these different pieces integrate inside of Teams. I'm flying through these slides just to see if I missed anything. One of the things we have around user access and how you can manage some of the properties within there, the settings and permissions. By the way, if you want a copy of this slide deck, let me know. We can create a team for you, make you a guest user within that team, and get you that permission here to take a look at it. Within the channels here, we talked about adding channels, working with conversations we hit on today, chatting with today's teams as you're working through that, being able to add tabs to monitor and work with your teams and your channels. So many different ways to integrate with different tools within the Teams environment. I could spend just a full hour, 2 hours, 3 hours just working through the document collaboration. We hit on the notifications tab today. We talked about the mobile stuff. With guest user access, big change in guest user access that just happened a week or 2 ago. You no longer need an Azure Active Directory account, right? So you're able to use a Google account, register that account with Microsoft, and then able to use that as a guest account. That's brand new. That's like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And we talked about guest user access there as well. All right, that's it. So let's get out of that slide deck. Let me start to go through questions.
Yeah, Malcolm,
Joseph,
I actually pinged you all the questions in your Teams chat. You should have that.
Okay, let me kind of go through that. I'm actually gonna let me bring up my Teams chat here, and then kind of coming back over here, and we take a look through here some of the chats and some of the questions, and we'll take a look at as well. I'm going to go from the bottom up. So one of the things we have is recommendations on user adoption and training. So you see what we're doing with Flex, right? Flex is a client of ours. They are 70,000 strong. They have had multiple presentations. I was up at 11 o'clock last night presenting to India. One of my recommendations around user adoption is take it slow. Put some of the first tools in place, Teams, Planner, OneNote. That's a great way that a lot of our clients have started. Work on training. Find some people who are really going to be champions. Invest in training. Flex has invested a lot in training and working with people and kind of working through how they can ease people into it, but make sure that they have the tools as we kind of work through there. Office 365 groups and how that relates to Teams. One of the challenging things around Teams is that it's going to create a brand new Office 365 group for you every single time. So one of the things that means is that as we work within our team, it's creating a whole new group on the back end, and that group brings along with it a brand new SharePoint site collection, right? And that SharePoint site collection has its own set of files and tabs, and you really want to learn how to work with that. Kind of going back to that governance question as well, is that we're working with Flex right now to create a script. And with that script, we're saying, hey, if a team hasn't been touched in 30, 60, or 90 days, we're alerting the user saying, hey, we're going to put your team into soft delete. And then if there's no response, we're going to put it into hard delete, and then possibly fully delete that. Once I click on open in SharePoint, I see all of those things that are in the back end of our team site. So all of those SharePoint modern website UI pieces, they're all there. So every team that I create has that SharePoint site collection on the back end, and we're able to sort of manage sort of the demo, the things that we're putting out to a team here in that SharePoint site collection. There's a lot of challenging aspects as an IT admin in dealing with sort of the Office 365 group aspect and how that sits on the backside of Teams as well. So there's a lot there. We can spend a lot of time just kind of working through some of those pieces. We talked about SharePoint on the back end. SharePoint is using the modern version of SharePoint on the back end. From the versioning side of things, it's going to be using just major versions. If I want to set major and minor versions, I can do that as we work through there. So there's a lot of versioning capabilities as we work through that as well. Chat collaboration, I can do that as a tab within the document or PowerPoint, so we kind of showed that as well. And I can do that just in general within any of the conversations that we have. So we talked about file sharing a little bit. What happens when we remove a user, right? So once a user is removed, all of their content, all of their sort of chats and conversations, they remain, right? The user no longer has access to the environment, but we don't want to lose the history of what that user has done or what that user has said within the environment, right? And so they stay around. One of the other things that we had a lot of questions on as we've been doing this training is e-discovery. So right now, Microsoft is working really hard to put e-discovery pieces in place to ensure that there are some groups, particularly legal, particularly clients that don't want things to stick around, where I don't want the content to be there. Today, if I delete a conversation, if I delete a file, it goes into what we call that soft delete. That means me as an end user, I can go into the recycle bin and bring it back. After those 30 days, it goes into hard delete, which means the admin is the only person who can bring it back. After those second round of 30 days, it's gone, right? Now, from an e-discovery standpoint, if I don't delete it, it sticks around forever. Right now, Microsoft is trying to put things into place which will allow you to say, I don't want things to stick around forever. I want this to disappear after 30 days or 60 days, particularly when it comes to conversations. And so that's not fully baked yet, but that is happening. Is Visio supported? So Visio is supported as an online tool, right? So as we do Visio, I can come in and I can click on Visio links here. And I don't think I have any. Yeah, here's Visio. All right, so as I click through here, one of the things we're doing around that governance workflow for Flex is we're creating a workflow for them around governance that, and this is exactly what we're doing for them, is creating a process where we get rid of those Office 365 groups, right? And within those Office 365 groups, the ones that stick around, because so many are being created when you do Yammer, when you do Planner, when you do Teams, group proliferation is going to be an issue. And so what we're trying to do is really bring that down. We're trying to minimize that. We're trying to manage that. We're trying to govern that. And so this Visio diagram shows that. And then as I'm showing some of the properties within here, and this is all Visio Online Viewer. So what I'm doing is not specific to Teams. I have little tabs at the bottom. This is Visio Online. It works really well, particularly in the modern SharePoint, particularly in Teams that we've been working with too. And so you see there, that's that Visio Viewer. A lot of really good questions, guys. So we talked about governance. We talked about multi-factor authentication. Within the chat, let me see if there's anything else as we go through here. It's 11 o'clock, guys. I'm going to stay on for another 10, 15 minutes and ask questions. Please keep them coming. And so, Joseph, you can ask me questions through voice as well, too. So today's presentation, we're going to save all of the visitor information. So everybody who came here, we're going to email you guys back and then get you guys a copy of today's PowerPoint deck as we follow up with you. So we talked about user adoption and training as we see some of the other questions come through. Oh, Office 365 groups. Any other questions that we want to see? I think we've answered most of them, Joseph. Am I missing any in here?
No, I think you got it all. Yeah, so any new questions, please throw them out, but looks like we got everything so far.
Awesome. Well, we really hope this was helpful today. We had a lot of people participate. We really help. Really, thank you. We thank you for your time today. We thank you for your time this morning. Please let Joseph, myself, let us know if you have questions. I would love to do this presentation for you. We can tailor it to your company, to what you're trying to do. Please let us know how we can help you roll this thing out. So thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. And I think that's it, Joseph. Anything else on your end?
No, just want to again thank you for everyone joining, like you said. And after this is all done and sort of wrapped up, I'll go ahead and send over the PowerPoint that Malcolm showed, as well as the recording of our session today. So rest assured, you will not be left hanging here for more information. We got you covered.
All right. Thanks again. Have a great day. Goodbye, everybody.